Hey guys, it's DC here, and today we're going to talk about which cybersecurity vendor certificates are actually worth getting. Now, this isn't something that's actually covered fairly often in cybersecurity. I know everyone talks about the CompTIA certifications, as well as some of the other ones out there like the EJPT and some of the CREST certifications if you want to go into that sort of route of things. However, not too many people talk about like the Palo Alto certifications, the Checkpoint certs, the Cisco certs, although I have a fair bit. So I just wanted to go through those today and discuss which of them I think are actually worth getting to get into a entry-level position and further on down the track. Now, if you're in the boat of most people who are just trying to get into cybersecurity, there are different certifications that you can get, which I have mentioned 1,000 times in other videos. One certification is sort of outside of CyberSec itself and more as a networking position, which is a great certification to fall back on if you don't get straight into a CyberSec position, which is actually the case most of the time, like 90 to 99% of the time. You don't just go straight into CyberSec, you usually do something else first, like network engineering or network security. The number one certification for that is the CCNA, the Cisco Certified Network Associate certification. Now, this is probably my favorite certification of all because it will help you to get a job in cybersecurity one day. It will help you get your first position in any IT role, especially at MSPs or managed service providers, because they're going to want to pay for someone who has this certification, because then they can advertise the fact that that staff member has this cert, and then it brings up their partnership with Cisco. And it's quite common that most enterprise level organizations have some Cisco equipment in there, or the equipment that they have is probably based off Cisco iOS anyway. So yeah, it's definitely worthwhile getting a CCNA. And you can go further down the line and get a CCNP if you want to go into the BGP side of things, or if you want to go into maybe further down the line, get a CCIE, or move up into management and get one of the other certifications. The world's your oyster, but definitely have a look at the CCNA as your starting Cisco certification. Now, outside of Cisco, I would only say that getting a vendor certification is worthwhile if the organization that you're actually applying to or already have a job at has a requirement for that certification. Now, for example, this sort of comes off a question that was asked of people asking me why I have a Checkpoint certification. And the reason for that is that most of the networks in the city that I'm in are either Checkpoint or Palo Alto secured. So they have like a Checkpoint or Palo Alto firewall over the top of whatever infrastructure they have. So those are the two certifications I have, and it's for the reason of that. A, it helps me get jobs, and B, the main point, especially for these Checkpoint one, is that a place I was working at had a project in place before I even started there to change over their existing Juniper firewalls to these next-gen Checkpoint firewalls. Now, as part of that migration, they had a budget of training for one staff member to get a certification in Checkpoint. Me coming from a position in that organization as a network security engineer, it made sense for me to take up that certification and to then do that migration project. Now, apart from actually having to use those certifications for compliance reasons within an organization, or if you're working for a managed service provider, they're pretty much the only reasons you would have to get a Checkpoint or Palo Alto certification. Saying that though, most networks that I've seen generally, like even government, in fact, all of the government ones I've seen recently have had Checkpoint or Palo Alto or both.
It's actually, I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
The other vendor certification worth getting, which there's actually whole jobs around this certification, is the Splunk certification. Now, Splunk engineers generally get like $120,000 to $150,000 in Australia, which is that's a pretty good wage, to be honest. And their whole job is smashing through those logs and automations in Splunk and squeezing out as much as they can out of that product as possible. Now, to do that, you don't need to have the Splunk certification, but it's definitely going to help you if you're applying for a job that has a Splunk environment, where you will then obviously be going into that. And if you do have the certification, which is quite expensive from memory, you would then also, be paid fairly well off the back of that. So outside of the Cisco's certifications, Checkpoint's basic like entry-level certs, Palo Alto the same, and Splunk. I'd say there's probably not much else you would need to look at as a certification worthwhile getting, because unless it is that environment that you're going to be working at has that equipment and has a need for you to actually get that certification. And then in that case, they're probably going to pay for you to get that certification. They'll take you through the whole coursework, they'll pay for the exam at the end, you just go in and you do it. And that's probably if you're already in an organization. But if you're applying for jobs and you want to get into somewhere that has this list of vendors and you need to get a certification off that, forget it. It's not worthwhile unless they're going to pay for it for you. My point is though that you don't need to get these certifications prior to getting a job. It's just not necessary, except for the Cisco one. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more, share it with all of your friends. Jump on my Discord server, have a chat. If you have any questions, ask me there or in the comments section below, and I'll help you out as best as I can. Catch you later, guys. Have a great day.